What is happening, everybody? We're back with a long overdue episode of the Reel RendezNEWS.
The news. Beep, 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 beep,
Nope.
beep, beep.
That's what I wanted. Yes, the Reel RendezNEWS is filmed in front of a live studio audience and one drum kit.
Hey, I like a drum kit. I've got a guitar over there that never gets played, so why not a drum kit too? You know?
Yeah, I don't have a button for the guitar, but just trust us.
How you doing, Brett?
I am doing all right. It's been a good day. It's been a good week, actually. I've been on, not to jinx it in front of the entire world, but I've been on kind of the up and up recently.
You've been locked in.
I've been locked in. I've been getting my shit together.
That's good. That's good.
So it feels nice. I've been feeling all right.
I have not been locked in, despite the fact I've been on day shift, which makes me more available than other shifts. But I made up for it this weekend. I got shit done around the house yesterday. Made it to the movies with my bro Brett. Got a review coming at you.
We do.
But first,
but
we got
not yet.
We got plenty to discuss.
Yes, we're overdue on the news.
A lot of stuff to talk about. So let's jump right into it. We need to just do a movie roundup.
Yeah, we're gonna
because
do a
it's
movie
been so
roundup
long since we've been on here.
Yes, we've guys, believe it or not, we do watch movies that we don't review.
You guys are getting a freebie here.
Yeah,
we're going to talk about some movies we've watched.
Yeah, we do. We like to do some mini reviews around here on the update section.
Just a little nugget.
And
review.
we got more than usual. Usually it's just like one or two, but
Yeah.
we got a decent chunk here to chat about.
What was it that we reviewed the one time? And it was when the Batman came out.
And we just did. It was basically the entire update segment was basically just a review of the Batman.
Yeah, we should have just split them up. Yeah. But anyways, we're learning as we go.
What episode was that?
I could probably look back and find it, but I don't know if I want to do that right now because that'll take a little bit of time. But
it would have been it would have been pretty early in the.
I literally flipped right to
Yeah,
it. It was whenever we reviewed 500 Days of Summer.
It absolutely was. Yeah.
Just would have been better to just review the Batman.
Do the Batman.
Instead of being sad about girls. Feeling bad for my guy, JGL. Shout out JGL. He's the man.
Shout out JGL.
But anyway.
It's been a while since we hit one of those. I wasn't prepared for it. I was sipping.
I know. My bad, bro. First movie we're going to talk about is one, shocker, Brett saw that I didn't. But we're going to talk about Borderlands real quick.
Yes, I'll chat about Borderlands for a second.
Jump on it, Brett.
Hunter, do you have any history with the Borderlands games? You didn't play those?
They always look cool.
Yeah. Borderlands is a franchise that I don't even really enjoy the games of. It's not like any fault with the games. It's just I'm not a huge fan of first-person shooters.
It's a looter shooter, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's just not the genre for me. Now, like it goes so deep and gets so bad with my like distaste for first-person shooters that I genuinely believe that there are a lot of first-person games that if they were third-person, I'd probably just immediately enjoy them more. And Borderlands,
Really?
yes, I can't explain it, but
You've never been a big first-person guy.
not super huge on them. Really, the only franchise that I think like absolutely needs to be first-person is Doom. I don't think Doom would work in third-person.
No,
but
it wouldn't.
That's
just because it's one of the OGs, man.
But Borderlands, I think, would be great in third person, and I would love to be able to play it that way. But because I can't, I never really got into it. And then on top of that, the writing has just never really struck me as being particularly like great. It's not like bad, but people will say what they will about it.
I've heard that people really, really enjoy a lot of the comedy and the way Borderlands is.
I've actually seen maybe it's just my feed on Twitter and my algorithm that I've curated, but I actually see a lot more people that like really sort of resent the humor that Borderlands has built up, but they just keep playing because they love the gameplay loop so much.
Well, I will say that you're right about the algorithm. It'll give you what you want to hear, but at the same time, the generational opinions varies here.
Yeah.
I like when Borderlands and Borderlands 2 first came out. That was 15 years ago, probably.
I don't know if it's that long.
I don't know when the first one come out. I thought it was like 2009, 2010, something like that.
Holy shit, it might have been.
Yeah, but anyways, what I'm getting at is totally different.
Yeah, because it was early 360.
Yeah,
but yeah.
So that's why opinions would change there.
But yeah, so the Borderlands games were never really something I got super into. But I still kind of like that world and, just sort of like an outsider looking in. I've always been slightly interested in, just trying to interact with it a bit more. And so it's been a while now. This thing got stuck in development hell for a little bit there. But a few years ago, they announced they're doing the Borderlands movie. The first thing they came out with was the cast, and immediately upon the cast being announced, people were like, "That's weird," because
show that to Kaylee.
What is
and
that?
tell that is Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, and
her argument about her not having,
yeah, the yammies.
Sorry,
but
back to our regularly scheduled broadcast.
For those of you who can't see us, which is all of you, we took a brief pit stop to admire Jamie Lee Curtis's figure.
This relates to Borderlands.
Yeah, we'll get to it. He jumped ahead a little bit, but they announced the cast, and he just spilled Miller Lite all over his fucking microphone.
I'm a mess over here, dude. Anyways, keep rolling.
Bro is locked out right now.
Keep rolling while I cancel myself.
You go ahead and fix that up. Here, I'll mute it so you can wipe off the mic. You guys get to hear me isolated now, so I hope you enjoy this.
Sounds a lot better.
Yeah. But they announced the cast, and everyone was, fans of the series were very put off because everyone in Borderlands sort of hovers around the early 30s, mid 20s range, and a lot of this cast that they announced was just old people. not like super old, but like, did you get it wiped off? Are you good to? Okay, cool. I'll bring it back in here.
They're just too old.
Not like they're not like geriatric. Well, it depends on how you look at it, but older than the characters are normally represented as, and so immediately that put a lot of people off. And then we didn't hear anything about it for a really long time, and then they started dropping trailers. I think we talked about the trailers in a previous episode when those came out first.
The very first trailer,
yeah, I thought it looked pretty good.
Yeah,
yes,
I think we
talked about it on the show, and we said that it looked pretty promising, and we thought it looked like it would be, a lot of fun. And then the movie released, and it was the talk of the town for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, not for good reasons.
For anyone who's unaware, Borderlands debuted on Rotten Tomatoes, and I'll be the first one to say that Rotten Tomatoes is not the be-all, end-all of movie criticism.
Especially on a debut.
Yeah, especially on a debut. But it is a good basis, and, it gives you the consensus of what people are saying.
Those first impressions.
For anyone who's not aware, which if you're listening to this, you definitely are, but just to cover all the bases, Rotten Tomatoes is a movie review website that splits the scores between critics, verified critics like professional movie reviewers, and audience scores. So normally when a movie debuts their score, it debuts with their critic score, right? So Borderlands debuted with 23 reviews. 23 separate critics reviewed this movie, and it all averaged out to a 0%.
That's insane.
Ridiculous, right? And so everyone was like, that's insane. I refuse to believe a movie of any caliber
is that
like releases could be a 0%.
Right.
And then Grace Randolph reviewed it, and it bumped it up to a 4%.
Who is Grace Randolph?
Grace Randolph is a fellow internet movie reviewer, obviously much larger than we are, because she's a verified critic on Rotten Tomatoes.
Has a little bit bigger of a pool, huh?
But she goes by Beyond the Trailer, is what all her channels. I actually watched her like religiously for a very long time. Like when a movie would come out, my gauntlet would be Jeremy Johns, Moist Critical, Beyond the Trailer.
I got you. Okay.
But she said it was okay, and it got a 4%. Right now, it's sitting at a 10%. I saw it, and yeah, it wasn't great. It wasn't great. The biggest issues with that movie are the writing. It just isn't super tight. It's also just not super funny. A lot of the jokes really didn't land for me. And not because they were bad jokes. It just actually really didn't have that many jokes in it now that I'm really thinking about it. Or at least none that stuck with me, obviously. And then a lot of the performances felt very phoned in and or miscast.
I've heard that about Cate Blanchett big time.
Yes.
Like she was there for the paycheck.
Not only was she miscast, she was also phoning it in. Yeah. So it was like a double whammy of this is not working out. And considering she is the main character of the film and who we follow for 90% of it, it definitely bogs it down a whole lot.
Yeah.
A couple positives, because there are a couple positives. One, Jack Black as Claptrap is fucking phenomenal.
I think Jack Black in general stays winning, especially in roles like this.
Yeah.
When he gets to just be funny and goofy, and
he found his bread and butter, and he's gonna keep spreading it.
I like that.
Put that on the t-shirt.
Yes.
I love that. Put that. I like I love saying put that on a t-shirt.
It worked out perfectly.
But he's great. Claptrap steals every scene he's in, and he is the most consistently well written. All of his jokes land. I thought he was hilarious. Mm-hmm. There was not much that he did that did not work for me. And then Kevin Hart as Roland was actually I think he did a really good job as well. We were talking upstairs before recording. You're not the biggest Kevin Hart. You don't hate him, but you're not a huge Kevin Hart guy.
I just find him pretty unfunny.
And Kevin Hart's not a huge guy.
Everything I've seen him in, he just didn't really make me laugh. I don't know. I've never really found him that funny.
I personally really like Kevin Hart. Not only do I like most of the movies he's in, I really like his stand-up. Like, I just like...
No, I've never watched his stand-up.
I like most of the stuff that he does.
I've heard his stand-up's good.
It is. I think his stand-up is really solid.
And I really haven't seen many of his films, but the ones I have seen, I just didn't really think he was that great.
Like, I thought he was great in Jumanji. Mm-hmm. I think he does one of the better jobs in Borderlands. I think... What was that one? Oh, my goodness. What was that one he was in with The Rock? Which is most of his movies, but like
that's one specifically
Central
I don't
Intelligence.
Like. Yes,
that's what it is. You don't like that movie?
I did not like it.
I thought it was pretty. Dude, I don't know. Big man, little guy. That dynamic is so funny.
I know what they were going for, but it just didn't connect with me.
I think that movie is funny. And then he has a movie on Netflix called Lift, and it's a decent little heist film. It's fun, and he's the lead in that. I think he does a pretty good job in that. So I'm a big fan of Kevin Hart. I think he did good as Roland. People were nervous because Roland is a very stoic and serious character in the games. He's one of the only characters that's like that.
Really?
And then they cast Kevin Hart. Well, okay, this is speaking from like what I've seen and read. Again, I haven't played them, so maybe I might not be 100% on par here. But, just what I've gathered from reading other people's who like are more ingrained in their opinions. That's what Roland is like. When Kevin Hart was cast, they were like, why would you cast the funny guy as the only character that's not really supposed to be funny? And it's because Kevin Hart's got range. All right, let's give him some credit. Now, he's snarky, of course. It's that thing we've talked about on a previous episode where it's like, slapstick, like comedy versus just like being like a smart ass, right?
Yeah.
And in this, as Roland, he's way more on the, like, so Jack Black's on the like comedy side. Kevin Hart falls more into that, like he just makes some snarky remarks every now and then.
Yes.
And I think he does well. I think he does a good job. Rounding out the cast is... I forgot her name. I'm so sorry. She was in Barbie as the main little girl in Barbie. She plays Tiny Tina, and her name is... I'm going to put some respect on her name real fast. Ariana Greenblatt. Yes, I knew that. Ariana Greenblatt is in this movie as Tiny Tina, and I like her. I like her a lot. I really liked her in Barbie. Borderlands is the only other thing I've seen her in. But she... I don't think she was right for Tiny Tina. This is a instance of severely being miscast, or at least being severely misdirected, I should say. Because Tiny Tina is one of the characters I know the most about in terms of how she should be portrayed and what her personality is like. And you get tiny glimpses of it every now and again with Ariana Greenblatt's performance, but it's just not there. And you can tell, that's why I'm saying I think it's a matter of miswriting and misdirecting as opposed to miscasting. She looks great.
Yeah.
One of the biggest positives of this movie is the production design, right? The costumes look great. All the practical sets and props look phenomenal. The CGI in this movie is fucking dog shit. None of it looks good. There's not a single shot of CG in this movie.
Hey, you did say Claptrap looks good, though.
Claptrap looks good. But they did have a physical Claptrap there as well.
Oh, really?
I believe,
well, that's
yes.
cool.
Because I know they had one because they were driving it around New York City recently.
That's really
promotion. Cool. But overall, it's just kind of meh. Like, I don't think it deserved a 0%. I personally give it a 4 out of 10. So I'd probably set it around a 35, 40%.
Just kind of came and went.
It just kind of came and went. It's not good. And I don't think, fans of the games aren't happy with it. But I do think general audiences can find something in it, if you just want a fun action comedy. I think it would have benefited from being rated R instead of being capped at PG-13. And there are some instances where it's sort of that thing where you can kind of almost tell that they wanted it to be R-rated and like made it considering that it would be R-rated and then had to cut around it in post.
I feel like
which happens to a lot of movies.
I feel like Eli Roth could have had more fun with it had he been able to make it rated R.
Yeah.
We talked about earlier before we started recording that I do kind of like Eli Roth as a director in certain doses, certain areas. He's got that niche of gratuitous gore. You know, he started the torture porn genre, basically. And whenever he winks at you and makes it funny, it almost works. I do enjoy that.
The last movie I saw by Eli Roth was Thanksgiving, which I also did not like very much.
Now, a lot of people did enjoy that.
Yeah, that one did pretty well.
I don't think anybody said it was great, but a lot of people were like, it's a pretty good slasher.
Oh, and as we were talking about Jamie Lee Curtis, she is in this movie. She is the farthest off in age. Jamie Lee Curtis is old. That's not an insult. She just is. That's just how time works. And she plays Taryn. I think her name. It's either Taryn or Terrace.
Tanis.
Tanis. Thank you so much. See, Borderlands expert over here.
She is 70 plus.
Yeah, but she does a great job. Jamie Lee Curtis's performance in this movie, I think, is really good. I really like her characterization, and I think what she was given to work with, I think she really takes it and runs with it. The reason we were referring to her, as I so delicately referred to them as her yammies, is the costume she wears in this movie has a giant boob window, and I don't know if it's the lighting, but Kaylee, my girlfriend who I saw this movie with, immediately did not buy that they were real.
She used the term supple.
Yeah, they
were very supple.
She believes that it was a plastic, like, part of the costume to make them look bigger, which I agree. They look like it could be a lighting thing, or they could just have been enhanced for the costume. But Hunter was informing us. He was educating us that Jamie Lee Curtis actually got those ballistics on her.
She's always had nukes.
So. Shout out Jamie Lee Curtis's personality.
All right, we can move on. But anyways, so
Hunter did not. That might be the first Real Rendezvous shout out that has not been echoed.
Yeah, shout out Jamie Lee Curtis. Just her in general.
Yes, just her in general. We love Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, she's awesome.
But that was Borderlands. Don't see it.
All right, next thing to talk about here is me and Alyssa caught Longlegs on digital.
Yes.
We watched it on Amazon last night, actually. And this is one Brett saw in theaters.
Yes.
Brett and Kaylee did.
We went and saw Longlegs.
I wish I would have been able to see it in theaters, but, obviously shit happens. We didn't have the opportunity to. So as soon as it came out on digital, we watched it, and I really enjoyed it. I really have this thing for that specific, like, psychological thriller genre. I love True Detective season 1 anyway. I love Seven. I've made Brett watch Seven before. And just generally anything that fits that occult detective type niche I love, and this movie really scratches that itch. I think that Nick Cage was a little overhyped, and the movie in general was overhyped. I think it was great for what it was, but for people to like make some of the claims of like it being like this year's top horror movie or anything like that.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying it was like the scariest horror movie that's come out in years. I didn't think it was really scary at all, like period. It was definitely more of a thriller than a horror movie, in my opinion.
I think there were definitely some sequences that were scary, but I just think that it was, like I said, overhyped, and the way it was advertised wasn't quite what it actually was. As you said, it was brought up as like this serial killer thing. And, maybe slight spoilers here, not all is what it seems when you watch the entire movie. I still enjoyed it for what it was. I would rewatch it, especially like during Halloween or something, because there is some scary moments, in my opinion. And I think Nick Cage does do a good job as the titular Longlegs serial killer. But also, I've seen other outlets say like Micah Monroe does great, and I mean, she was all right. She didn't really like do anything crazy with it. But if you enjoy psychological thrillers, definitely check it out. I think it's perfect in that genre. So I know you said that you weren't super into the third act.
Yeah, Longlegs really disappointed me. I was super, super engaged for the entirety of the first two acts. I was loving it. I thought it was really cool. I was excited to see where things were going. I thought we were putting this mystery together, and I was waiting for this really nice, really cool, satisfying, like, whoa, mind blown payoff. and then it was just Satan. It's always fucking Satan. Guys, I've said it on the show before. I can tout myself as not liking horror movies, right? I always say I'm not a big horror guy. And what I mean by that is always your First Omens, the Conjurings, what's is that the Conjuring where it's the husband and the wife and they go and and like Annabelle and the Nun are all thrown in there. Yeah, I don't like that shit. I think it's boring. None of it's ever really that scary.
You don't like any of the supernatural haunting type stuff.
Yeah, because it doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
Right? But like Seven is an unsettling movie.
Yeah.
Seven gets your stomach churning a little bit, right? Trying to figure out what's going on. How is this happening? Mm-hmm. And then it turns out it's just a guy.
Yeah.
It's just a guy and he sucks.
And that is scary.
And
that's realistic.
And that's terrifying. Right? Satan doesn't fucking scare me. Put that on a t-shirt. Satan what's the opposite of a shout out?
It's like
I denounce Satan. He doesn't scare me. I think he's a pussy.
It's a good thing we're recording today on Saturday because Brett now apparently has to go to church tomorrow because he denounces Satan.
Yeah. I'm walking through the doors for the first time in my life just to stick it to that asshole Satan.
I get where you're coming from, though,
but
sure.
it really because the whole movie you're leading up. It's like, oh, what Longlegs? How is he doing this? What are his motives? Who's in on it? Why can't she remember things? It's this huge, awesome conspiracy, and then it was just demons. It's just fucking demons, just regular ass demons killing people. I guess I don't know, man. It really killed any hype I had for them. Like it really bogged it down for me.
A lot of these psychological thriller genre films, a lot of the plot hinges on the way they execute the third act.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because getting there is pretty much all the fun. Mm-hmm. It's like a road trip, Getting, like you said, getting through all the conspiracy, all of the how everything is unfolding, how the detectives or the protagonists are finding the clues, piecing things together. That's all fun. But can you make it make sense at the end?
Yeah. And the answer is no when you just cop out with Satan. That's what I think it is. It's a cop out. We couldn't figure out how to tie this together in like a cool, like, oh, I didn't see that coming way. So it was just a ghost or it was Satan or it was,
I get where Brett's coming from. I have to disagree. I really liked the way the movie wrapped for the most part. But I see your qualms for sure. Because that does happen far too often. I think where this movie really knocks it out of the park, though, and we talked about this, was the cinematography.
Yes.
And just the way scenes are shot and like certain things are held for a long time, or the wide pan. And something we didn't talk about earlier, but I wanted to bring up, every time there's like a flashback sequence, it's on like a smaller...
Yes, it's shot on like 35 millimeter film.
Yeah. It's really cool.
It's really cool. This movie is gorgeous. If nothing else, this movie is gorgeous. Like if it's up for any, I don't know how the Oscars work, but if it gets like put up for any Oscars for any reason, it absolutely should be cinematography, and it absolutely should win. This movie is immaculate to look at.
I was telling Brett that whoever the cinematographer is, we really should have looked it up.
Yeah.
But he could, or she could take the camera and just videotape my back porch.
Yeah, and make it look awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then another positive, I really liked, I don't remember his name, but her like superior.
The character's name was Agent Carter.
Yes, I really liked him. I think that actor was doing a really good job. I really liked his chemistry with her.
Yeah, I thought it was good
I thought that was really good. Nick Cage is fine. He's doing his thing.
She's Nick Caging it up, dude.
I think the ending really diminishes his character, especially as the title character, because, really, he doesn't really have that much. He's just a vessel. He's he has no motives other than
I enjoyed that.
His motives are just serve Satan, right? It's like pretty easy to. It's like, oh, why is he doing that? Oh, it's for Satan. It's like, all right.
I enjoyed that because it was like a little bit subverted from what the title wanted you to think, but
I guess I can see that, but it just didn't really work for me.
Yeah, not as advertised. Could be annoying here too.
Yeah,
I understand, but regardless, glad I got to catch up on it. I totally understand, like I said, where you're coming from with things.
Yeah, it just kind of dropped the ball. I'm not going to say it's a bad movie, but it just disappointed me. It dropped the ball for me. and probably the only aspect that it really needed to land.
Yeah, like I said, man, those psychological thrillers, I got to stick that landing at the end. And one more that we need to talk about.
This one's the big one, baby.
Yeah, Alien Romulus, just released a couple weeks ago, I believe, on the 16th. Not 100% sure. Me and Alyssa went and saw it opening night. Brett, you caught it just a couple days ago.
That following weekend, yeah.
Yeah. So everybody knows, like, I was super hyped for this. This was like my number one most anticipated movie this year.
We've been chatting this one up for a while here on the show.
I want to say, for the most part, it what's the word I'm looking for here?
Delivered?
For the most part, it delivered on the goods. There were a few complaints that I have. Critics are loving this for the most part, but I don't know if I want to champion it the way some people are. This is a good horror movie. It almost takes on like a slasher type construction to the way it not falls, but to the way it the plot goes on and falls into place. And it just looks like Fede Alvarez's other movies for the most part. Some could see that as a negative. I kind of see it as a positive because the guy going into this movie was 2 for 2 in my opinion.
Remind me of his previous.
He made 2016's Don't Breathe. And
then the 2013 Evil Dead, which is a fantastic movie. I really like that one.
Yeah, I think that he does, and I've talked about this on the pod before too. Sometimes I really like style over substance, and he almost does that, but not, in the horror genre, you can almost get away with things because of that.
It almost makes me wonder, I think if they ever get the rights figured out, throw that man on a Friday the 13th.
Oh yeah, he'd crush it,
That would be fantastic.
He would crush it. And this is, in his 3 big budget films, 2 of the 3 were like remakes or reboots. I was going to say,
just like hand this dude a franchise and watch him work his magic.
Like, what if we gave this guy a Nightmare on Elm Street film,
Yeah.
Like you said, he would do great. But I just want to say right off the bat, the best thing that I love about this movie is the dedication they have to practical effects and the monsters and making, the xenomorph, the facehuggers, the other creatures that you see throughout the film. They all look super tangible, real, gross, disgusting. You don't want to touch them. There's some really nasty sequences in the movie. We're all spoilers here. There's a girl that births a new xenomorph human engineer hybrid that is just nasty. Lots of blood. And then also, I just want to put it right there with the monsters too. The practical sets and the production value is off the charts. Like, it looks like such a cool, real, living sci-fi world. I just want to be there. Yeah. I actually don't want to be there because I don't want a facehugger on me, but it looks awesome.
Yes. We here at the Reel Rendezvous are huge advocates for practical effects.
100%.
I 100% believe that the worst practical effects are, at the very least, more charming than the best CGI. I think if it can be done practically, it absolutely always should be, at least to an extent.
Why do you think, and I've told Alyssa this before, but why do you think practical effects just hit harder?
Well, obviously, there's just the fact that it's tangible. You're watching it. If it's captured in camera, your brain can tell the difference
between something
that was shown on camera, caught on the day, and something that has been added in post. No matter how good that CGI looks, you will always be able to peg most of the time that something about it isn't quite there.
Right.
At least for like big effects. Obviously, I know Marvel likes to like CGI walls and like guns in people's hands sometimes. And obviously you can't tell that, but we're talking about like, some major effects,
right?
Creatures, blood, gore, stuff like that. That stuff, if you can do it practically, I believe you absolutely always should. Even if it's not going to look as good or as realistic as, like, you can tell the xenomorphs are puppets. But you know what? I love that. I much rather look at it and be like, that's a damn good puppet, than be like, that's some shoddy CGI.
Like you said, it's something you could reach out and touch.
Yes.
Like it would be real, And I love that.
Yeah, it's awesome. And they're, like you said, their dedication to it in this movie is just not only off the charts, but it delivers in every possible way. There's not a single practical effect in this movie that I don't think does its job.
Yeah.
Like, dude, literally, I was so in awe of the set when they first get into the ship and they fix the gravity and they go to check out the cryopods, and it's just that wide of everything lighting up.
Yeah.
I leaned over to Kaylee and I was like, my God. Like it's gorgeous.
I love, like, and you talking about the sets and everything too. And I'm just going to slobber on this movie a little bit more because we have our qualms with it, but we'll get to that in a minute. Like even just the, sliding hydraulic doors, they push a button and they open.
Yeah.
It's not CGI.
It's not. They made doors that fucking open when they push that button.
I was telling Brett, so the film starts out on a mining colony planet called Jackson Star, and that entire sequence on the Jackson Star strip where they're out and our main character, Rain, is checking her time served for the company or whatever, and they're on that main strip. I'll have to show you that video. Mm-hmm. They literally built all these big silos in the background, that whole strip of like buildings and stuff, and that street, all the dust and dirt everywhere, that's all real. Yeah, like they made all that.
It's awesome.
For a fucking 10-minute sequence in the movie too.
I think obviously the best course of action, if you have the budget for it, is a mixture, right? Mm-hmm. Practical effects slightly enhanced by CGI.
That's always
to maybe rough out some of a couple of wrinkles, right? But I even then, like I said, the worst practical effects are always like, they still have a charm to them that you don't get with, like, you don't look at bad CGI and you're like, oh, they tried, you look at bad CGI and you're like, oh, that looks shitty, they should have spent more time on that. But you see a bad practical effect and you're like, well, you know what, they gave it a shot.
Yeah,
they tried to make it work, and that it's just admirable. It's admirable and it's cool to see. So that aspect of it is fantastic. And then, like you were saying, the fucking creature, they're as terrifying as ever. The xenomorph is probably just one of the scariest things ever in like most media.
I'll go ahead and say it. Like, you want my opinion? I think the xenomorph is the best looking and scariest movie monster of all time, in my opinion. I mean, I know I'd be inclined to agree. I feel like there's a lot of people that would probably, maybe not a lot of people that would want to argue, but I just think it's so iconic, man. It's almost like, I feel like right up there with like the original like Universal monsters, like Dracula, Frankenstein, and Creature of the Black Lagoon, and all of that stuff. But anyways, that's all the positives, really. If we're going to talk about some negatives, Brett, you can go ahead and dump yours out there. Brett has a few more than mine. I'll just elaborate with what I agree with what you say.
Yeah. Really, my biggest negative is just the character work in this movie. We're dealing with a fuck ton of nobodies in this movie. They are strictly in this film to die. There are only 2 characters in this movie that were not written into the script specifically to become dead later. Mm-hmm. And I will say, at least one of those characters is done phenomenally. They brought out all the stops for this one guy and then let the writers go home for the day.
Bro, go ahead and give him his flowers.
Let me give him his flowers. Guys, so one of the main characters in this movie, one of the 2 main characters in this movie, is an android named a synthetic person named Andy. And he is played, what was his name?
David Johnson.
And he is carrying this movie on his fucking back, dude.
Yeah, he
crushes it. His performance in this movie is genuinely one of the best I've seen this year. Yeah. He is killing it. He is so good at pretty much everything they throw him up against. He starts the movie as a timid, slightly, miscoded android.
He's malfunctioning kind of here and there.
He stutters. He's very prone to damage. If someone just slightly shoves him, he'll like freeze up and his stuff just like goes all wonky. But his stuff goes all. I didn't know. I lost the word.
No, but you're right. He does.
And then he tells these dad jokes because he's programmed to protect our main girl Rain after her father passed away, and he instilled this Andy unit with these like fatherly tendencies. She refers to him as her brother.
She's played by Kaylee Spaney,
who I've not seen in anything else.
I have not either.
Okay. But about halfway through the movie, he gets a new nodule put into his ecosystem, his like circuit board or whatever. I don't know how to refer to it.
He installs new hardware.
Yes, he installs. Well, actually, it would be software in this case.
Software. Okay.
But he installs a new directive, and his personality flips on a dime, and this dude just fucking nails it.
Yeah, he's great.
It's not only completely believable, but he sells every line.
He becomes like a stone cold robot. At that point,
and then near the end of the movie, he hits sort of this like in between point, and then he switches back to how he was at the beginning, and he just nails all of it. I cannot sing this guy's praises in this movie nearly enough. I really think, and he's sort of like up and coming. He's not done a ton of huge stuff up until this point, and I would absolutely adore to see him in more things.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in anything.
Yeah, because he is doing a great job. Shout out David Johnson.
Shout out David Johnson. A big part of why this movie did work for the most part,
as well as it does, is if he was not in this movie, I would like it infinitely less.
See, and that's one thing that me and you talked about is it seems like in this franchise you got to get the androids right.
Yeah,
I don't know why,
which they pretty much always do.
Yes, I don't really have one to complain about.
I have a theory that they have one guy who's in charge of writing the androids, and he's the best writer on the team, but that's the only thing they let him do.
They didn't let him write any of the human characters.
They keep him as far away from the human characters as possible for whatever reason. They just let him kill it on the androids. But that said, like I said before, biggest problem with the movie is the human characters, and that problem being that they are not characters. These are not people. Yeah. These are cannon fodder. They're there to die. They are there to die. We have Navarro, who is there. She's there to get chest bursted. We have.
It looks sick though.
It does. It looks really good. Those practical effects. I will say, I love that X-ray light gadget. That thing is so fucking cool.
See, that is cool. The only thing I hated about it is A, the trailer ruined it, and B, you know that shit was just introduced so she could stick it behind her back and you could see the squirm in her chest.
Yeah, I will say the trailers for this movie. If you just watch all the trailers they revealed, you could edit the movie in order and basically watch the whole thing.
Somebody needs to kick the trailer guy's ass.
At least all of the major deaths. Pretty much everyone that dies in this movie dies in the trailers.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying.
And that just shows you, like, they didn't care, right? They don't care if you know these characters die because they're not characters. They're only there so that you can watch them die.
Yeah.
And for some people, that's fine. For some people, that works. I'm not, like, mad about it. But I if I'm going to spend this time with them, I'd like them to have like a little something going on.
Something you probably would have liked is, this I'm going to say maybe you don't think this is a good movie, but you're going to say it's a pretty good movie. It's decent enough, but it could have been a great movie for you had it put in that extra effort.
It could have been an absolutely great movie if it put in that effort for the characters, because the first Alien, I loved the character work in that movie, right? And it wasn't even that much more than this, but the fact that this is basically at nothing, anything else at all would have been better.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, man, because that first one, that's a big reason why people love it so much, because all of the characters are portrayed in their own individual way, acted really well.
Yes.
And
we just get a bit more time with them.
Yes, you get to see how much they actually enjoy and spend time together, how they are this blue-collar team that work together.
Every relationship we know about in Romulus is delivered to us by one sentence and never touched on again.
Yeah.
That's my brother. That's my cousin. I'm his girlfriend. Let's all die. Like, that's the movie. And they all die so quick. We get rid of our supporting cast basically immediately, and then we're just like on a solo adventure with Rain and Andy for the entire second half of the movie.
Yeah, something that Fede Alvarez, for better or worse, like I said earlier, he does this with all of his movies. He crushes it with the sets, the production design, all of the kills, all this other stuff that make a horror movie. And he kind of just, this will work for the plot, for the characters and how they are, how they act, the dialogue exchange between them, and so on and so forth. Like I said, it doesn't drag it down as much for me as it does for you, but it is a problem, and I'd like to see maybe his next directorial effort be written better.
Yeah, like I said, it doesn't make it a bad movie. I would say this is a really good movie. It's a fun time, and I would definitely recommend people, especially Alien fans, to go and see it. But if I was sitting down and I'm like, I want to watch an Alien movie, Romulus is probably bottom of the list for like what I'm going to reach for.
Yeah.
Another big issue for me, and this one's kind of nitpicky, like this isn't the filmmaker's fault. This is just sort of like I think the movie would be cooler if this were the case. Like we talked about, Isabella Merced's character, completely wasted, by the way. I love Isabella Merced. I think she's great. I don't know why they put her in this movie. She has 3 lines of dialogue and then gives birth to the offspring and then dies.
I told you why they put her in the movie.
I know.
So they could say Dora the Explorer birthed the nasty alien.
I don't know if I've ever said it on the show before. I probably have. But shout out Dora and I think it's like the Lost Golden City. That movie's really good. I don't care what anyone says.
I've never seen it.
I really liked it. I really did.
I actually heard it was way better than it had any business being,
had any right.
Yeah.
Had so much better than it had any right to be.
Swiper in it?
Yes.
What?
He's Antonio Banderas.
Is he a fox?
Yes.
Really?
A little CGI fox with a mask voiced by Antonio Banderas. He's fucking amazing. It's great.
That sounds fire.
That
dude.
movie is so good, dude. Put that on the list. We're doing it on the show.
Review,
We're doing it on the show one day. That movie is so fun. But I love Isabella Merced, and I was so excited that she was in this. And for a while, I thought she was going to be our final girl. And she's not really. Maybe she's like 7th girl.
Yeah, she was like the one character in the original Alien that like just basically her purpose was to scream and die.
Yeah,
like.
But she does give us one cool thing. She gives us the offspring, and man, Hunter doesn't agree with me on this. He thinks the offspring was handled perfectly. I would have much preferred the offspring be born much earlier in the movie and be our main antagonist. I'm not saying we shouldn't have dealt with the facehuggers and shouldn't have dealt with the xenomorphs, but to create this like haunting, that's the word I have to keep using because he is fucking really terrifying, scary, dude. Like, I was unnerved. I did not want him around.
He was like the Slender Man, but with a tail.
Yes, dude. He sucked.
And black teeth. So what Brett's getting at is, if you've seen Prometheus, this movie takes place between Alien and Aliens, which Prometheus is a prequel to those, and now my eyes have went crisscrossed. But anyways, Isabella Merced's character injects herself with a Promethean cure-all, basically, that has been made on this space station to try and save her own life. Which it does, but then mutates her baby, her fetus that's developing inside of her, and she ends up birthing this thing in this disgusting-looking crustacean pod. It hatches out and then just grows into this 7'2", like Brett said,
fucking terrifying.
Nightmare fuel of a
thing
thing.
Is awful to look at,
and it's practical.
And
it's a guy in a suit.
Guy in a suit, dude. They found a guy that huge, and they put him in a latex suit and made him crawl around on all fours, and it's fucking terrifying.
I saw a picture of this actor, so I guess he used to like play
basketball.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, he's literally like 7'2", but weighs
huge.
about 160 pounds. Like,
it's super tall, very skinny.
Like, oh man, he's nasty. Can you imagine somebody was like, I'll tell you what, I got the role for you.
Yeah.
And then you just become the freakiest monster of all time.
And I wish he would have gotten more screen time. I wish he would have been what was stalking us throughout the rest of the Romulus station, because that would have been so much more terrifying. And also just something new.
Yeah.
Every Alien movie, it's just... And I know you told me that the last time they tried to do something new with the xenomorphs, everyone hated it. And that's fair. But, like, it's always facehuggers. It's always xenomorphs. Like... And then they give us this brand new cool thing that could be like this huge threat. And they introduce it in the last 10 minutes of the movie, and Rain kills it basically immediately.
Now, one thing I will say is, if it had been in the film more, I wouldn't have been upset about it. I would have enjoyed it. I just am glad that it didn't detract time from the facehuggers and the xenomorphs, because we got new stuff with the facehuggers and the xenomorphs too. We saw facehuggers that were basically biologically developed and in like saran wrap.
Yeah.
And I've never seen a whole wave of facehuggers crawling all over each other to come attack people.
That was... It reminded me a lot of that Prey game. The little guys in the Prey game.
Prey,
the little goo monsters.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I love that game. Dude, shout out Prey 2017.
Shout out Prey 2017.
That is one of my favorite games ever. But, yeah, so that was... And then the xenomorph, whereas we get the same old xenomorph here, but we get to see the entire sequence of it, like its third stage of its life cycle, going from the little baby chest burster into its cocoon, and then metamorphosizing, I think.
Something like that. It's doing something in there.
Out of said cocoon into its fully fledged, xenomorph drone figure.
Yeah.
Which that entire sequence was disgusting too. Like, it looked like things I don't want to talk about, but it was really nasty.
We all know what it looked like. They did it on purpose.
They did it on. Well, that all stems from H.R. Giger's original depiction of what the biomechanical xenomorph like was supposed to look like. It was really phallically influenced, and
Yeah. One last thing I'll touch on, then we'll move on from Romulus. But this is my last big negative with the movie. Stupid fucking CGI Rook.
Oh yeah, we'd be amiss if we didn't bring that up.
I don't mind Rook being a major player in the movie. I think that's cool. I like that a lot. I think that's neat, right? It makes sense for him to be there. But because that actor had passed away, right?
Yes, Ian Holm passed away, I believe, in 2011.
Yeah, so Ian Holm passed away, and they wanted to put Rook in this movie. And for some reason, these studios just cannot get out of the habit of just fucking zombifying these people with awful CGI. Just cast someone else that looks like him. It's not that hard, and we'll always, again, it all goes back to the practical versus the CGI. Right. It's like you can build these giant sets and you can build an entire xenomorph, but you can't just let a dead guy be for your fucking movie character.
Yeah,
you can get someone else to play Rook. If you call him Rook and you put him in the outfit, we'll know who it is. All right, we're not stupid.
Now here's the funny thing about all of that, which we didn't discuss earlier, but there was an actual actor that did all the mocap. So an actor was still playing Rook.
Yeah.
Did all the mocap for him, even voiced him. They just used AI to alter his voice to make it sound more like Ian Holmes. So it was like they did everything except for cross the finish line and was like, yeah, let's still just cover it up with CGI.
Yeah, it's weird. It's always weird. It always looks bad.
And that's a big qualm that I do have with this movie. It's like opposite Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool and Wolverine knows it's a fan service film. Mm-hmm. This one almost gets too fan servicey, and it detracts from what could have been. I still love this movie. Mm-hmm. I still thought this was a great movie. I will rewatch this. I mean, I might buy it on Blu-ray. Like, I love this movie. But same thing like what you were saying earlier. There's some certain things that just kept it from being like, dude, this is pushing the envelope for what this franchise needs to do next.
Yeah, and I feel like I don't want to make it sound like I'm like bashing. I really enjoyed it. I had a really good time with it. But, it's just those little things that really, really hold it back for me.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that's Alien Romulus. I think that's pretty much it for our movie roundup. Yes,
that was it. That was the movies that we saw that don't need full reviews, but we wanted to chat about.
Yeah, you guys are getting spoiled here. So also something that happened was some D23 action.
Yes, we got a lot of trailers.
Let's start off with the one I thought was coolest, the Thunderbolts trailer.
Yes, guys, I'm so fucking excited for Thunderbolts.
Yeah, so give us a little sprinkle of what Thunderbolts is.
So we chatted about it on the last episode of Reel RendezNEWS, but when they did the Comic-Con, right? They had a Thunderbolts trailer at Comic-Con, and it didn't leak out. And I don't know if this is a D23 trailer or the Comic-Con trailer, but I believe it might be the Comic-Con trailer just finally leaking along with the D23 stuff, but don't quote me on that. But we didn't have a trailer. I talked a bit about the synopsis. These several Black Ops agents consisting of Yelena Belova,
semi-bad guys.
Yelena Belova, U.S. agent, Ghost, Taskmaster, and Bucky are sent on this mission that they think they're being sent on alone to extract someone from this facility, but they're all sent on the mission together with the intent to either get killed or kill each other, and they form an unlikely alliance to go up against the people that were trying to sabotage them on this mission. And the trailer finally leaked out, and guys, it looks so damn good.
Yeah,
this movie looks like it has the sauce, and I'm so excited.
I know, like, people are saying it's like the Suicide Squad for Marvel.
Yes,
and that's okay though.
Yeah, right.
Because Suicide Squad's fun. Cool. Yes, you can tell they're kind of angling for a little bit of a more not lighthearted, but they know these characters can be funny, so they have that going for them. I love the licensed music in the trailer.
Yes.
I should have looked up what song that was. But and it looks like everybody involved is having a good time with this. And the action looks great. Yes, it does. The action looks really good. That whole knife sequence, like passing it between everybody, trying to make it hit someone, looks great, and it's very fun, and it shows off the character's abilities really well. I'm assuming that's definitely going to be our introduction scene when they all get to the place when they're on their mission. Yeah, and I love that we basically have full confirmation of what the asterisk is all about, and I think it's really funny. They're the Thunderbolts with an asterisk because none of them really want to be the Thunderbolts. It definitely seems like probably... wow, I forgot his name. David Harbour's character.
Red Guardian.
Red Guardian.
It definitely seems like Red Guardian's probably going to be pushing for the team aspect, and everyone's not really going to be about it.
Yeah.
So, like, they're the Thunderbolts loosely.
Yeah.
Like, so that's your little asterisk. And I just think it's going to be a fun time. It looks like they're really having fun with it.
That's something that's something dumb that Red Guardian would come up with too, and just like, we will be Thunderbolts.
We will be the Thunderbolts.
You're like, what does that mean? It'd be like, it just sounds cool.
Yeah, right?
Like
Dude,
something dumb like that.
I guarantee you that's almost going to be word for word.
Yeah.
I guarantee you. We'll come back to it.
Yeah. You heard it here first.
Yes. Put it on a t-shirt.
Yes. High five.
Because I was excited when they announced it, right? Because I love a good team movie. Nothing gets me going more than an ensemble cast.
Yeah.
It's very easy to get me to like your movie if you put a bunch of folks together and do a found family thing. So I was already sold just from when they announced it. And then when the team lineup was Yelena, I fucking love Yelena. Shout out Florence Pugh, my darling.
Yeah, shout
out. But her, Red Guardian, David Harbour is fantastic in that role. I love David Harbour. I love seeing him in anything.
David Harbour's awesome.
He was a huge him and Florence Pugh were the biggest highlights of Black Widow.
Right.
Taskmaster getting a chance to do a bit more, to
try
independently to try again. She's got a cool new suit.
Yeah.
Ghost getting a chance to shine a bit more with
Also,
another cool fucking suit.
Yeah, because her suit was kind of ass before.
Yeah. And then more of U.S. Agent, who was a very complex character.
I like
who I
Wyatt
really
Russell
enjoyed.
a lot,
Yes,
man.
I really enjoyed a lot of the stuff they did with him in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So to just see, the continuation of his arc where we left him in that show, I just think everything in this movie is going to really work for me.
Yeah, I'm excited
very
for
excited.
it too. So that releases May 2nd, 2025.
Yes.
So we'll be there to check it out, maybe review it.
Maybe. We'll see.
Could happen. And then we got let's brush through one real quick, Ironheart trailer. It looks all right.
Yeah, not a ton to say about that one. It looks fine. I really liked her in Black Panther, but the show doesn't really look like it's going to grab me that much. I think her armor looks... And I get that. I know why her armor looks the way it does, but that doesn't mean it looks good. I don't know much. Did you ever read your Hood comic?
I was literally just about to bring it up. So the only reason why I'm interested in this is because I'm a big fan of Kyle Hotz. He's a comic artist, and he did a run with somebody else for the first ever edition of the Hood comic. And I guess the Hood, Parker Robbins, I think is the character's name.
You're asking the wrong guy. I don't know anything about it.
He is going to be the
Anthony Ramos.
Yeah.
He's the actor. That's all I know.
He will be the primary antagonist for this movie, or TV series rather. So I'm going to tune in, if not for anything, just that. But I'd like to read my comic first.
I hope she gets the armor she had in Black Panther back, because I love that design. I loved her armor in Black Panther, and also her character. So as long as she's doing more of that, and then maybe, hopefully, she gets an armor upgrade, I'm sure it'll be fine. But as of right now, it doesn't look like anything to write home about.
And then also, so moving on from Ironheart, something else with probably the one, well, Thunderbolts was awesome. But anyways, Daredevil Born Again.
Yes.
Coming out March 2025. The trailer leaked for that, and it looks really good.
It looks great. It looks like we're just hopping right back into where we left off.
It's got those super dark tones of, it's got like funeral organ keys playing at the beginning and
They
end of the
throw
trailer.
a dude in front of a fucking train.
Yeah, there's
and he explodes.
blood everywhere.
Yeah.
We get to see John Bernthal come back. He's got a sweet looking beard. I love the Punisher. Shout out John Bernthal.
Shout out John Bernthal. And shout out Charlie Cox.
Charlie Cox
He can
owns
do
this
no
role,
wrong.
man. He does great.
He is Daredevil.
Nobody plays a blind guy quite as good as Charlie Cox.
Dude, they asked him in an interview recently about his time on She-Hulk, and they were like, is it difficult acting against a CGI character? Is it difficult acting against something that's not there? And he was like, well, it's literally my job in this role not to look at anything, so it's actually quite easy for me. And I was like, damn, yeah, good point.
Oh, also, the return of Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yes,
as
the
Wilson
Kingpin.
Fisk.
Again, another role that's like, that's just there. They found the Kingpin. There
he crushes
is.
it, man. He does.
He's
great.
If Vincent D'Onofrio's not doing Kingpin shit in real life on the down low, I'd be surprised.
He could be, man. Have you seen him in like any of the other movies he's been in? He's just good at playing like a scumbag. So
not really. I like him on Law and Order.
He was on Law and Order.
Yeah,
no way.
He was one of the main guys on SVU.
Well, I mean, I never watched, but yeah. Alyssa likes Law and Order.
Yeah, he has hair in that though, so it's hard to recognize.
And he's been acting for a long time too.
Yeah.
Like even since the early 80s. But anyways, I'm excited for Daredevil, and that's coming up pretty quick. I'm surprised that trailer just hasn't been dropped.
Yeah, they just haven't put it out yet. They put out a still from it. They're doing this weird thing where like Disney knows we've seen it all already, but they're still being like coy about it. So they've released a bunch of stills. So like they released a high definition still of the shot in the Daredevil trailer where he turns around with the blood in his mouth and he smiles. And then they released a high definition still of the Thunderbolts when they're in the elevator. And then there was a Captain America trailer that also leaked. It's technically a new trailer, but most of the footage is the same. Just the ending shows off Red Hulk in more detail. But now it's not even exclusive footage because they released the HD version of that clip of Harrison Ford turning into Red Hulk. So that's why we're not talking about that.
One more thing. What is the new antagonist name that we were introduced to in this trailer? The White Tiger?
White Tiger's a hero. White Tiger's going to be helping us out.
A good guy?
Yes.
No.
Vigilante. He's skirting the line.
They're all vigilantes.
Yeah. Our bad guy this season, or this series, I guess, but it's Daredevil season 4.
Right.
Is a character I don't know anything about. I don't know if he's new or not. I was going to say he might be fairly recent, but I was just talking out of my ass. But his name is Muse. And like I said, I don't know anything about him. More research necessary, but we'll get back to you on that. But I do know that the character's name is Muse.
Could be cool. Sounds cool.
Yeah.
But anyways,
I like the look of him. The white mask with like the bleeding eyeball. That's pretty fucking sick.
Yeah, that's sweet. I'm super excited about that. I really enjoyed the Daredevil TV series whenever it was on Netflix. I want to talk about one other trailer. Shifting gears here. We got 2 more trailers to talk about, but I want to bring up something real subtle. Star Wars had some things drop at D23, and I just want to say that Skeleton Crew looks pretty good. I saw somebody say it is bringing that classic, like Steven Spielberg, young kid 80s vibes, like that kid neighborhood.
Yeah, it's like Star Wars Goonies, isn't it?
Goonies, you have like, gives you big E.T. vibes.
Sandlot, maybe?
Sandlot, like the kid team up type movie. And I'm excited to see what Jude Law does, because I feel like this is a guy that just hasn't really gotten that many great roles recently. I haven't seen him in much shit. And he used to be a badass.
The last thing I saw Jude Law in was Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I mean, like, where has he been? You know, this guy.
I'd never seen him in anything before that. I don't know much about Jude Law.
Oh, come on, dude, Jude Law. If you got a name like Jude Law,
that's a cool name.
You're the man.
But I don't know what he's done.
There's a quote from the movie Pineapple Express. I'm really tempted to say, but I'll just tell you about it later.
Okay.
But anyway, Skeleton Crew comes out in December.
If you know.
Yeah, if you know. Shout out Pineapple Express. But I'm excited about Skeleton Crew.
Reluctant shout out to Pineapple Express. I've never seen it, and I don't like Seth Rogen, but I'll take
Seth
your word for it.
Rogen's not the funniest part of that movie.
He's not the funniest part of any movie.
He's all right. Danny McBride's the funniest part of Pineapple Express, hands down. You know who Danny McBride is?
I've heard the name, but I can't place it right now.
Kenny motherfucking Powers.
You made it worse. I don't know anything about that.
He played in that TV series Eastbound and Down. But anyways, Skeleton Crew. I'll be watching.
Yeah, it looks fun. I like the kid team aspect of it.
The CGI looks pretty good too.
Yes,
for once.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed.
I'm pretty. I'll be honest. I've been and probably will continue to be pretty checked out on Star Wars. I never really got into the extended, which I've talked about on the show before. I never really got into the extended, like past the movies. I don't really care that much. The Mandalorian is really the only thing. Like I never watched the Clone Wars, and I never will. I didn't watch Ahsoka. I didn't watch Bad Batch. You know, it's I don't know. The extended Star Wars stuff never really grabbed me as much as just like the movies did. It gets a little too complicated, and I don't really care about those characters as much.
Ariana Greenblatt, she played as young Ahsoka in the Ahsoka series.
Oh, that's cool.
For like a whole flashback episode.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, when I was looking earlier, I seen that. We have really technically 2 more trailers. One's another TV series, but we have a movie trailer to talk about. Kraven the Hunter.
Guys.
Also coming out in December.
Kraven looks so fun.
It looks really badass.
I even said I liked the first Kraven trailer that came out, and this one's even better than that one was. I also love that they keep making... I love when they do R-rated trailers. I love when an R-rated movie gets an R-rated trailer.
Yeah, show us the goods.
Show me what I'm getting.
Yeah.
And Kraven has done it twice now. Both the Kraven trailers have been R-rated trailers. And I just think it's going to be a fun time. I love that it's rated R. I think the action looks great from what we've seen in the trailers. Looks fucking... Dude, he fucking whips a bear trap on a chain around someone's head. Like... That's insane.
What I really like about this guy is how he's almost like John Wick, but not just with guns. He will melee you to death with anything.
Yeah.
Like, don't even let this man get a chain wallet around you. Like you're dead.
And we love Aaron Taylor Johnson. Shout out to Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah, dude,
he's fantastic in everything he does.
He's hot.
Everything he touches turns to gold. He is a stud and a half.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Did you ever get around to watching The Fall Guy?
No, I haven't.
That is a great movie. You got to watch The Fall Guy.
Yes, I will.
But he's in that. He's the main bad guy in The Fall Guy. He's not in it much, but he's pretty funny.
Whoa, dude! Spoiler alert.
What?
I'm just kidding.
No, it's not.
No, I knew that. But yeah, actually last night, whenever we went to watch Longlegs, I saw Fall Guy on there. I was like,
yeah.
Damn.
No, you got to check it out, man. It's a fun time.
Yeah, we'll get around and watch it.
But Kraven looks solid. And I think it's going to be even more solid than it might have been originally because it went through some pretty heavy reshoots to add mostly Rhino stuff, I think, is what they reported on. They just made the Rhino a bigger part of the movie. Trust scoopers however you want. I usually don't, but it is around the rumor mill, so I'll bring it up. Apparently, they were going to fucking do the Amazing Spider-Man 2 thing again, where like the movie ends with like them teasing Rhino, and then it like cuts to credits. But apparently, they pulled back on that. They did some reshoots, and now it's a full-fledged Rhino fight. He's a bigger part of it. I also heard that Sony is very confident in this one, right?
Ooh.
After flopping with Morbius and then flopping even harder with Madam Web, I could understand where they might be a little fearful. But
come on, dude, Madam Web was awesome.
But apparently internally they're pretty optimistic about Kraven. They're claiming that it's more in line with the Venom films, which are very successful and that I love. So I've got high hopes for Kraven. And our boy Russell Crowe is there, who can do no wrong.
I love Russell Crowe. I'm looking at the director, J.C. Chandor's filmography, and he hasn't really made anything I've seen. But most of his movies have pretty good, that he's directed, most of them have pretty good reviews. So fingers crossed on this one. I think it'll be good, man.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
pretty
Kraven
pumped up
time.
about it.
He's gonna show up and crave all over the place.
Yes, if we're lucky. One last trailer. This is coming out on, I believe, Amazon Prime. Secret Level.
Right.
So this is an anthology
I almost forgot
series.
again.
Yeah, we love anthology series around here.
We love an anthology.
Which, talking of anthology series we were big fans of Love, Death, and Robots, both seasons.
We've talked about it on the show many times.
So this is a new anthology series. It'll be debuting. Dude, that comes out this year.
Yes.
December.
I know. Fucking crazy.
December's going to be pumped up, man. I'm super excited. But this is written and like helmed by Tim Miller, who was half of the big writing crew for Love, Death, and Robots, which was him and David Fincher.
He also directed the best Deadpool movie.
Yeah. Wait. Oh, the first one. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He's awesome. Secret Level is an anthology series of 15 episodes, and each episode is basically a different video game property reimagined and brought to life with its own short story. So I'm really excited to see where they go with each of these and how they attack the IP.
Like in the trailer, we see Kratos in like a modern day city.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
It's gonna be weird. It's gonna be weird. But we've got Kratos, we've got Mega Man, we've got Armored Core, which is not a series that I know anything about, but it's like a big mech.
Yeah, you get cool mech suits.
Yeah. Ghost of Tsushima, Jin Sakai has an episode.
There was some.
Do we have a full episode list, or is it just?
Well, there's a Warhammer. I know there's a Warhammer one, and I saw also a Dungeons and Dragons one, which tells me it's not all video games.
Yeah.
But let me see if I can find, because there's an episode guide here.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't break down what each episode's about.
But yeah, and I don't know if we knew anything about this before they dropped the trailer, because I know
Armored Core, Conquered, Crossfire, Dungeons and Dragons, Exodus, Honor of Kings, Mega Man, New World, Eternum, Pac-Man.
Pac-Man, that's awesome.
Sifu.
Yo, dude, Sifu's so fun. That game's hard as shit. I'm really bad at it, but that's a good game.
Spelunky. I don't know what that is.
Dude, Spelunky.
The Outer Worlds.
Dude.
Unreal Tournament. That's fucking
That's like Quake, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's like one of the OG like multiplayer first-person shooters. Warhammer 40K and various other PlayStation Studio titles.
Dude, that's awesome.
Dude, if this isn't fire, I'm going to be really mad.
Tim Miller, hear my plea. Tim Miller, please save me. Listen, if you're watching, if you get a season 2 of Secret Level, please do a Sly Cooper episode.
That would be awesome, man.
Please do a Sly Cooper episode. Use the designs from the scrapped movie that turned into a TV show that also got scrapped. Dude, bring back PlayStation Move Heroes, all right? Do an episode where Jack, Ratchet, and Sly all hang out and make a Sly $1 billion.
Dude, all the things that Tim Miller, well, I don't want to talk about his directorial stuff, but for the most part, all of his stuff it hits. So he has one blemish on the directing side of things.
Are you talking about Real Steel?
He did not direct Real Steel.
No, was that Sean Levy?
Yes.
I'm getting my Deadpool director. What did he do?
He directed Terminator Dark Fate.
Oh, okay. Is that one not very good?
The only ones that count are the first 2.
But yeah, Secret Level came out of nowhere. Crazy fucking wild concept, and I'm really excited to see what they do with all of it.
That's literally like the picture.
Yeah, why is he in a city, dude? Oh man, it's so weird.
Yeah, super excited.
I can't wait for that.
But yeah, so almost saved the best for last there, but really pumped up about that, and I think that's pretty much
we are
our news.
We are good to go now.
We had a lot to talk about, but it's been a while. So,
yeah, we had to get caught up. All right, we've been filling the knowledge banks so that we could come out here and spill that tea.
For sure. So we'll be coming back at you guys here before too long with a review, so be ready to check that out.
Yes, look forward to that on your feeds. You want me to hit them with the socials?
Wrap us up.
I'll read them their rights. Guys, if you want to follow us anywhere, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, that is all going to be found at Reel Rendezvous, all one word, spelled as it always has been. Shoot us a tweet. Comment on our Instagram. I actually don't post on the Instagram very often. I'm more so on Twitter and YouTube. I try to post on the Instagram.
I get on the Instagram every now and then.
Yeah, Hunter posts some cool stuff on the stories on the Instagrams and stuff.
When I'm not feeling lazy.
But comment on the videos, give us suggestions, tell us what you thought of our opinions and stuff, and we'll read them and respond to them and blow you kisses over the internet.
Yep, for sure.
Consensually.
Yes, only if you want to.
Yeah, we'll ask and then you reply and you say yes please, and then we'll send them by mail order.
Thanks again, guys.
Bye, guys.